welcome to another episode of Raven Conversations. I'm Josie Mandel, State Public Affairs Officer for the Washington National Guard. And today I'm joined by the brothers McGill. We've got Joel and John with the 194th Logistics Readiness Squadron in the Washington National Guard. But you're both also graduates of the Multi-Capable Airman Course, correct?
Correct.
So they're going to tell us about being brothers in the Air Guard, being in the same unit. I imagine that gets its own stories every once in a while. And then also both graduating the course during the same time. So appreciate you guys coming out and joining us.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Of course,
So Joel, we'll start with you and kind of your intro background.
Okay. Yeah, I'm Master Sergeant Joel McGill. Joined the Guard in 2007. So got a total of just over 16 years total service. AGR in 2019. So I've been with the LRS the entire time. It's a good organization. I couldn't ask for a better organization to be a part of, especially, even the wing as a whole. It's great. Leadership's great. So when I was in the Guard, had a couple different civilian careers. It's tough being a traditional guardsman, trying to figure out your job, learning on the weekends. Can be frustrating. But I was offered an opportunity to do some temp AGR work. Came out here full time, made it a lot easier to learn the job and kind of get in the groove of things and learn how the mission is accomplished and how we support that mission and stuff, and really piqued my interest. So a permanent AGR position came open and I applied for it and got it. And I've been out here full time since 2019. So.
And then John?
Yeah, so kind of the same thing. Tech Sergeant John McGill with the LRS. Joined the same exact time as my brother. It was one of those things where we just were like, yeah, sure, let's join the military. And, didn't really talk much about it other than we're going to come in together. Didn't know what was going to happen after that, how it was going to work out. But almost same exact path. So started out as the DSG, had a couple of civilian jobs on the outside. And as I, did some temp AGR stuff, and then I had a deployment, it definitely piqued my interest to get out on the full-time side, and I had an opportunity to be AGR and got selected, got hired, and now here I am. I've been an AGR about a year less than Joel, so I got on about a year after he did, but it's difficult juggling a civilian job as a DSG, so you're bouncing back and forth on drill weekends and trying to switch back and forth mentally, and you're not getting much time off, and so it's changed a bunch since I've been become an AGR. But yeah, I love the people I work with. I love being a part of the LRS, and yeah, it's been great. It's totally different though, being AGR as opposed to DSG. So it's been a little different the past couple of years.
Yeah, and I imagine the answer will be similar for this question. Is how'd you learn about the Guard?
So we had a family friend that worked at WADS. He was a major over there, and he kind of started talking to us about becoming an AGR over at WADS to be, as they call it, scope dope, air traffic controller. We went to MEPS and then found out, we didn't know up until that point, that we were both shade deficient.
Oh.
The exact same shade deficiency. So it disqualified us from that job. So then we looked into, the LRS. We got a hold of, it was General Tui at the time.
Yep. Yep.
That kind of recruited us into the, the wing here. So that's how we learned about the Guard.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we had, I think the original plan was to go straight into the AGR program, and this was 16 years ago, so things would have probably looked a lot different had that worked out the way it was supposed to originally. But the color vision thing messed us up, so sent us down a different path. But the family friend was that was at WADS at the time kind of turned us on to the idea and led us down the path.
And you guys joined, was it the same exact date?
We have the same exact anniversary date. We went to same exact flight in basic. He was top bunk, I was bottom bunk. That's a whole nother story on its own.
Yeah, people laugh all the time about that because it's like once they find out first the big discovery is that we're brothers. We've been around the wing now since late 2007, so almost everybody knows who we are. But we still get people asking like, "Oh, are you twins? Wait, you're brothers?" And then it's like, "Yeah." And then it's like, of course, well, did you guys join the same time? And when we joined, there was no like plan of doing everything together at the same exact time. It was like, well, when we didn't know if we were going to be shipped off at different times or how that was going to look. But as it came closer to like going away time, it was like, well, we'll just try and stay as close together as possible. And if we can end up staying together, then cool. If not, I guess we'll either way come out on the same side, because we knew we'd be coming back here. And I guess the days went on. It was like we ended up being in the same group. Then next thing you know, we're in the same flight at BMT. And then it was like nobody even knew we were brothers.
The same room.
Yeah, same tech school.
Nobody even knew we were brothers until like I think like a week into BMT. So it was pretty funny.
And no one asked, right? They were like, "Oh, there's just two McGills."
Yeah.
Like,
The TI picked up on it right away, but other people in the flight didn't really pick up on it. So
yeah.
once he started pointing it out, it became very obvious.
So you guys are both in the LRS. You spent your entire careers there. What is the Logistics Readiness Squadron?
So Logistics Readiness Squadron is just what it sounds like. Anything that has to do with readiness, we handle it, as far as like deployments, mobility gear, all the different vehicle maintenance, TMO, so shipping stuff, getting UTCs, taskings, deployment taskings assigned to individuals, handling all that. Yeah, that's the logistics as a whole. We manage everything readiness. So pretty much anything that has to do with readiness, we deal with it, getting people ready to deploy.
Yeah. We say supply. Like usually when people hear supply, they're like, even before I came in, you hear supply and you have like in your mind this idea of, oh, they just, give out supplies.
Yeah,
that's it. And
that's all you think of.
Yeah, exactly. So, and it's so much more than that. The LRS is, it consists of like 5 different AFSCs, and we do a whole bunch of different stuff. So, our actual AFSC is supply within the LRS, but there's multiple other AFSCs that are housed within the LRS. It's just so much more than just supplies, which is, I think, what people think of when they hear logistics.
Yeah. So it's probably very similar on the Army side. When we're talking logistics on the Army side, it's probably a very similar job to what you guys do every day. So
yeah. But the commander, like he's got a pretty good vision statement for us. I think if it has to do with readiness, the LRS owns it cradle to grave. He's like, it's in our name, right? Mm-hmm. Logistics Readiness Squadron. So anything revolving around readiness and getting units or people ready is like, we're like the focal point for that.
Yeah.
So, and I like to look at it that way.
Yeah. No, that's a perfect answer. I think we look at it the same way in the Army.
As a DSG, us being a non-flying wing, kind of is hard to figure out what the mission is and how your job supports an actual mission, right? But when it's broken down that way, like taskings come down, people get tasked to deploy, and then from there, it's our job to make sure they have all the gear they need, all the, if they're taking vehicles, make sure those are serviced correctly. If they're shipping stuff, make sure it's shipped correctly. It kind of, you figure out how you support the mission and make it more, make it resonate a little bit more with you in a sense of belonging and, impact, if you will. So that helps for sure.
Yeah. So speaking for an Army guy, I have no clue what this course is I'm about to ask about. Yeah. What is the Multi-Capable Airman Course?
So it's basically just a broad knowledge of different basic skills that you might have to come across that would maybe be outside of your career field, right? So for us, it's being capable of doing multiple different things that you normally wouldn't have to do within the LRS. So, and the key word I like to point out is the capable, right? So you're not an expert at multiple different things you're capable of doing. So at this course, we learned like driving a big 10K forklift, AT forklift. And then you got like tractor trailer operations where you're loading equipment and pallets onto a big tractor trailer. And then you got to move that equipment to some other site, right? And then along the way, and this is all like based on in a like wartime, it's all based on the ACE like concept as well. So they kind of go hand in hand. So all the stuff, the multi-capable stuff they're looking at would be in a like wartime environment or a deployed environment. So when you start looking at being capable of doing a bunch of different things, it's kind of the basis is in what would it look like in a contested like wartime environment. So it was literally just like operating a big 10K forklift, operating tractor trailer because you need to move equipment from maybe one site to another. Refueling, like you're gonna have aircraft coming and going out of a bare base most of the time, so you're gonna need to know the basics of how like refueling an aircraft, what that looks like. EOD, part of the course was EOD because like IEDs, like what are they? How do you identify them? What do you do if you think you identified one? So it's basically just like a bunch of random different things that you might come across that potentially have nothing to do with supply, but you could be capable of stepping in and helping out, and you're familiar with a bunch of different stuff.
Yeah, and I think you guys were two of the first in the Air Guard to complete the course, correct?
Correct.
At the time, I didn't even know that. I mean, it was like we were asked like, "Hey, would you be interested?" Of course, I threw my name in the hat right away because it sounded really cool. Next thing I know, they're like, "Hey, there's this course at Nellis. We want to send you," and super cool. We went, came back, and found out after we got back that like, "Hey, actually, you guys were the first from the Air National Guard to go," and the fact that we were brothers and went at the same time, of course, that made it cooler. And so, yeah, I didn't even know though that there hadn't been any other people in the Air Guard to go to it.
Yeah,
yeah, and I think the big thing to keep in mind with the whole MCA thing is you need to keep an open mind, right? Like he said, it's not to make you a subject matter expert in another career field on top of the one you already have. It's just to make you capable, like whether it's you're going down range, agile combat employment, right? Smaller groups, whether you're going down range with smaller groups and setting up, in an austere location, setting up, whether it's structures or whatever it may be, whether that's the case, or you go down range with a bunch of people and one of the guys you're with, say, is working ground transportation, he goes down, right? You have the capability to jump on that forklift and get the mission done. That's basically all it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I think it scares a lot of people because they're like, well, if I take this course, they're going to expect me to know everything. And that's definitely not the case. So if you have the opportunity, if members have the opportunity to get in on it, definitely get on it. Keep an open mind. It just expands your knowledge, so you're more well-rounded.
Kind of a jack of all trades, but an expert at none.
Exactly.
And especially if you're a hands-on kind of guy, like I really like doing I like driving anything really. If it's got gas and steering wheel and can move, I'm all about it. And anything that I can like learn, just random knowledge, I'm all for. Like sign me up. So if I know there's a chance to just like I could learn a little something extra, even if it's outside my career field, like said perfectly, you just got to have an open mind and be willing because it's just gonna help you in the long run.
It's kind of like the lifelong learning. Always have an open mind to learn more about something that you may not know about.
It was a really cool course to how they had it set up so that they had different AFCs come in the beginning of the day. They do like a PowerPoint over their career field, and then at the end of the day, the second half of the day, we would go do hands-on, right? And then at the end of the course, they had a capstone. So they set up this whole like course for us. We loaded a aircraft pallet, strapped it down, then loaded it onto a 40-foot flatbed. Then we jumped in and drove the 40-foot flatbed around base. And EOD had like IED sections set up. We had to stop and identify the IEDs and stuff. So it was really cool. It gives you a whole well-rounded of like how a mission goes, like downrange. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, kind of the pickup like you had said, like if somebody goes down, you're able to pick up that person's job and do it.
Exactly. So. Yeah, you might not be an expert, but you can get the mission done. Right?
Yeah, the very basic stuff. Like another one of the big things was like if you had like a vehicle that was broke down, right, and you needed to get it out of the road or just like back to base, like very basic stuff. We had one of the days was with VM, and it went over like just the very basic stuff, like making sure, like to check the battery to make sure if it's got dead battery, how do you jump it to get it going to get it back to where it needs to be. If air brakes, there's a way you can cage the brakes to basically unlock them so that you can tow it or push it just to get it out of. So it's very basic stuff, but in a no kidding environment, it would be extremely helpful to just get the mission done.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So it sounds like it was a really great course, and I imagine being with your brother for the course, it was
that definitely helped.
Good.
Yeah.
So.
I'm not going to turn down 2 weeks in Vegas anyways. Right? On top, that's an added benefit to the course.
Yeah, at least you have your battle buddy there that you've known forever. So speaking of being brothers, you guys have kind of spent your entire career together throughout the Guard. What is it like serving with a brother and going to schools with them?
It's pretty awesome. I mean, you got that built-in battle buddy, right? Like everywhere you go. Outside of our deployments, we went on separate deployments, but outside of that, we've gone to every school together, Airman Leadership School. I mean, we did correspondence for NCOA, but we did it at the same time. The MCA course. It's pretty cool to get to go everywhere with, someone you're comfortable with, someone you've obviously known your whole life.
Yeah.
So it definitely helps. It gets a little tricky as far as like manning within the squadron goes and rank structure.
Yeah, especially now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody, I mean, in the Guard, everybody's allotted up to staff, right? And then once you get above staff, you start jockeying for those positions.
Mm-hmm.
So it gets a little tricky as you get up in rank, but I think we'll be able to make it work. And if not, then we,
Little brotherly competition happens.
Right.
Yeah.
If not, I mean, neither one of us are afraid to move somewhere else to make the rank if that's what was required,
Yeah.
So.
Anything that's when serving with a brother, any kind of stories that come to mind about that competition, or any games you guys play being the same kind of? It's
really never been from my point of view, a competition. Really, I've never really been like, oh, I got to beat him to this next rank, or I got to, get a better rating on my enlisted performance review so I can promote before him, or anything like that. It's never been like that for me. Just funny stories as far as people just always thinking we're twins. People we've worked with for 16 years still ask us if we're twins. But yeah, it's never been competitive from my point of view. Really.
Yeah,
so.
I agree with that. I mean, you get the funny looks when will walk into a room at a course or something, and it's like you get the double take once they see the same name tape. It's like, wait, the same name, and then you can see the wheels turning, and they're looking, they're staring, and they're like, well, wait, are you brothers? Yeah, we are. And they're like, yeah, we just happen to have the same. Yeah.
Just a coincidence.
Exactly.
Two McGills in the same room, same unit. Anything else you guys want to add before we wrap up?
No, other than since the main premise of this was the MCA thing, just message to airmen, just like I said, keep an open mind. And if you get the opportunity, jump on it. It's only going to make you better. And it's kind of the way the Air Force is going. So you might as well get ahead of it. My thought was get ahead of it before it's mandated, right? So yeah, just keep an open mind and take advantage of the opportunities that are presented to you.
Yeah,
absolutely. No, I appreciate the opportunity to come and do this. I thought it was pretty cool. I was going to jump all over it. So thanks. And I second exactly what my brother said. I mean, just keep an open mind and be ready for whatever comes your way. And don't be afraid. It's not expert. Nobody's asking you to be an expert in anything. It's just being willing and capable of doing just whatever. So,
yeah. No, I appreciate you guys coming on. If you're interested in learning more about the Multi-Capable Airman Course, we can put that information in the notes. We'll probably find the link online somewhere for it. If you have any questions, put in the comments. If you like the video, give it a like, and make sure to subscribe for future videos. Hey, thanks, guys, for joining us.
Thank you. Appreciate it.